Welcome to a month in the Kruger. This is Pretoriuskop. This is our last drive from Lower Sabi as we head off today to our next camp, which is Pretoriuskop. It's not that far, so we'll have to do some detours and stops on the way, as you can't check in till 2 o'clock. We're all checked in now, so let's go and find our unit. Well, that drive this morning from Lower Savvy to Pretoriuskop was probably one of the quietest we've ever done. Took a couple of hours before we saw any animals of any kind, and we saw just one elephant during the whole day. A few zebras, a few kudu, a few ordinary things, but overall a long drive, and if you can't check in till 2 o'clock, it seems a long time. Well, this is our unit at Pretoriuskop, unit number 4. Bit of a tight parking spot to start with. And then we go around the corner, and this is the circle we're in. And we've got an outside unit, we've got a kitchen outside with a table. Looks a smallish unit. Fridge as usual. Right, looks a fairly small unit, but let's have a look. Oh, it's actually a lot bigger than it seems. Got beds there, and even a couple of chairs to sit on. That's quite nice. And then just a little alcove with a sink and the toilet and the shower. It's small, but not as small as some of the others, so yep, that's good. For our afternoon drive, we followed the S8 and the S14, which loop around the back of Pretoriuskop camp. In more than 1.5 hours of driving, we saw absolutely nothing, save for one lone young bull elephant, who didn't seem very pleased that we ventured onto his part of the road. So it's back to camp after what had been overall a pretty disappointing day. Still, every day can't be full of fabulous sightings, and it's still great to be in the Kruger National Park. We've left early this morning in the hope of getting some decent content for this episode, but judging by yesterday, it's going to be a struggle. The drive yesterday to Pretoriuskop was probably one of the quietest we've had so far. We saw hardly anything. And I was speaking to a couple yesterday afternoon in the camp, and they went out all day yesterday and again saw virtually nothing. We had a little drive around the loops around the camp yesterday afternoon and came across a single young bull elephant who tried to chase us away, but that was all we saw. Maybe this area of the park was not a good idea, but I hope not. And as I've said before with the Kruger, you never know what you're going to find. It's another one of those roadblocks, and this one was to last about 15 minutes. It had been a much better morning than I'd expected, especially that sighting of the rare sable antelope. But now it was time to get back to the camp for a spot of lunch and an afternoon rest. One of the most noticeable things about this trip is the almost complete absence of bird life in the camps. Pretoriuskop, however, seems to be different, as there are a lot of birds we can see from our unit. This afternoon, rather than actually go around driving and hoping to find something, I think I'll stay in the camp and see what I can photograph. Once I get back, I think I'll treat myself to a lager. And here's that lager I promised myself. If you watch the Halahadi episodes, you'll know we tried to have a braai on this trip for the first time. Well, this is the last half of the bag of charcoal that we bought about 6 weeks ago. To be honest, I don't understand all this braai nonsense. All that happens is that you end up covered in smoke, you have to have a shower afterwards, have to change your clothes for the next day, and half the time you're doing it in the dark and you can't see what you're actually cooking. When we first came to the Kruger National Park about 5 years ago, we came on a private guided tour, and the guide, or rather his assistant, did a braai almost every night. When I asked him how often he actually did a braai at home, he said never. So I think it's just a tourist thing. I can understand the romanticism of it, the open fire and the cooking, but to be honest, I can probably get better results in a frying pan. Never mind, this will be our last braai. We'll see how this one goes. I don't think we'll be doing another one. Yes folks, I know it's not ready yet. I think you have to start these things about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We set off earlier this morning as we decided to head in the opposite direction to the crowds and go down towards Numbi Gate and work our way back from there. What a great decision that turned out to be, as halfway we came across this pair of wild dogs, obviously trying to find their way back to the pack. We got to follow these two for over 15 minutes as they were running along the road. They finally got fed up and one went off into the bush while the other lay down right on the road and went to sleep. Someone had told us that there was a leopard underneath a tree a few kilometres away on the S22, so we made our way there as quickly as we could, and sure enough he was still there. After that stop for coffee, we're heading back to Pretoriuskop on the H22. The sightings board at Afsal said that there'd been leopard and lion sightings earlier that morning. The H22 has never been particularly successful for us, and those elephants were the only things that we saw. We got back to camp just after 1 p.m. We had some great sightings this morning, but we had to drive quite a long way to actually find them. The area around the camp doesn't seem to be too good for wildlife. So rather than go out on a drive this afternoon, I thought I'd take a walk around the camp instead and follow this trail. Not sure what it's about, but we'll find out. Okay, that's where it starts. Number 1. This is almost like a treasure hunt. So number 1 tells you all about the marula tree, which is obviously these. These little huts here, I think, are some of the smallest huts in the actual entire park, and I think they were some of the first huts ever to be built in the Kruger. All they've got is 2 beds. That's it. There's no bathroom, no kitchen. You say you have to use communal facilities for that. But of course they'll be the cheapest that you can find. Then in contrast, directly opposite, we have I think where we'll stay next time. The Royal Huts. 27th of March 1947, the British Royal Family, King George VI, Queen Elizabeth, Princess Elizabeth and Margaret Rose visited the Kruger Park. These huts were specially constructed, furnished and mosquito proofed for the occasion. That might do us nicely next time. I bet they're expensive. Sabletail number 2. Which is round the back of one of the royal huts. Oops, go around the back of it. And that's the tree that bleeds. When this tree, the Transvaal teak, is damaged, its bark exudes a sticky, bloody red gum, hence the English name bloodwood, which has fallen from use. The gum also makes an effective dye. So then we head to sable trial number 3. And we get to go past all the posh places.
Right, number 4, the silver leaf that wasn't. Early voortrekkers on first seeing this tree believed that it was the famous silverleaf tree of the Cape Peninsula. The leaves of the silver cluster leaf are covered with silvery hairs which Tswana potters use to glaze their products. So that's this one here. It does actually look quite silvery. And then we head to Sable Trail number 4. And I presume, yeah, that's got a sable on it, so it's this way. Now number 5 is sort of hidden. I missed that one. Go back to it. And this is the Indaba tree. It's believed that under this very tree, a Natal mahogany, Ranger Harry Volhunter held regular meetings with his staff during the early years of the park. The Shangan word for meeting. And there you have a Natal mahogany. Okay, number 6. So number 6 is the human water hole. Built in 1954, this was the first and only swimming pool in the park for many years. It was donated by the Rembrandt Tobacco Corporation. In the days when they weren't rogues and vilified, of course. Now we've got a choice here. We can go left to the swimming pool or right to the trail. We'll go to the swimming pool. Well, this is where number 7 is anyway. So number 7 says, an innocent strangler. The low-felt fig is seldom encountered as an independent tree. Its seeds are dropped by birds in the fork of host trees, where they germinate and send out roots which eventually thicken until they strangle the host tree. Here is one strangling a silver cluster leaf which will eventually die. And you can just about make out the difference in the bark. And here's the swimming pool. It's actually quite surprising to find swimming pools at all of the camps. Never seen anybody use them, but I presume they're used in the height of summer. And most camps have got the swimming pools now, and the one at Letaba looks as if it could be in the Mediterranean. It's a extremely modern sort of Mediterranean type pool, but this is quite nice. Right, back from the swimming pool. And we assume it goes this way. You get these in quite a lot of the camps, which are bat boxes. The idea is to lure the bats to these and stop them sort of roosting or sleeping for the night in the thatched roof of the units, but it doesn't always work, and quite often when you come out in the morning you have to sweep a path through bat droppings in many of the camps, particularly bad at Lower Sabi and at Talamati, or at least in the units we stayed at. Right, number 8. The baked potato smell, especially discernible in the evenings along dense thickets or riverbanks in the Lowveld. The smell of baked potatoes is given off in the spring by the flowers of this shrub known as the potato bush. I assume it's one of these two, but I don't know which. We're actually along the boundary fence now, or a path which leads to the staff quarters just outside the camp boundary. And number 9 is just up the road, sausage tree. Deciduous tree, grows on rivers, banks and spruits. Flowers between July and October. Fruits can attain a length of 1 metre and a width of 18 centimetres and weigh up to 10 kilos. Unwise to park your car under this tree. And that's this one behind me. And you can see, if I can get out the sun, you can see all the sausage fruit there. And you don't really want one of those dropping on your head or on the top of your car, especially if it's a rental car. Now we've got a sign here, not sure whether we go straight across there or around there. We'll try around there. It was the wrong way, but we actually finally found it. And this is number 10. This is the Volhuta hut, built in 1930. This is one of the original huts built to provide accommodation. Known as a Selby hut, this particular one was named after Harry Volhuta, one of the first rangers appointed by Stevenson Hamilton. And I presume that was one of the original road signs in the park. So that would be Pretoriuskop 6 miles in the days when South Africa was under British rule. And if you look at this hut and compare it with the present huts, there's obviously not a lot of difference, just a little bit more modern. I'm not absolutely sure, but I think that's the end of the Sable Trail. 10 seems to be a good number, but it doesn't actually tell you how many are on it. And over there is the Wimpy restaurant, and this apparently is the school hall. I'm not sure whether that means it's actually a working school for the staff's children, or whether it was once a school hall. And we go past a few more of these 2-bed huts. And that actually, I think, takes us almost back to the beginning. Oh yeah. And we're going to cheat a little bit here and cut through the foliage. And that brings us back to the beginning of the Sable Trail. That's quite a nice little walk, quite informative, and it goes to show that when the animals are not playing and you think there's nothing to see, you can always go for a walk around the camp.